RELL Games, aka the Carib Bros, aka Block and Book, aka Online Adventure, are some of the best and most well-known Roblox developers ever. In today's video, we will be traveling back in time into the present to tell the story of the RELL brothers through the notable games they've created over all these years. Without further ado, don't forget to like, subscribe. Now let's get into this story of the RELL brothers. The RELL brothers first joined Roblox around 2007. Their accounts were terminated due to trolling on the site. The RELL brothers wouldn't make their first game until 2008 when they made a random tycoon game that was said to have gotten around 12 players, which back then wasn't bad because Roblox was a smaller platform. But their first Naruto game wasn't created until 2009, but it is now long gone off the site. The RELL brothers were first known on the site as Online Adventure, but one of the first known games they ever created was named Naruto Shippuden Online Adventure. The game was originally created back in 2011 and was one of the first known Roblox Naruto games to be created by the RELL brothers and just on the platform in general. This game kicked off what would be a series of Naruto games that the RELL brothers would try and make and improve on upon the years to come. The game allowed you to create your own ninja and explore the world of Naruto, and at that time it was essentially the only Naruto game that allowed you to do this at the time. This game pushed the boundaries of what Roblox could do, and many other games started to add character customization after this one. In 2012, we saw OACB, aka Online Adventure Clan Battles, and it was a Naruto Battlegrounds type of game where you could hop in and play around with different jutsu sets and just battle it out against different clans in the game. It was actually quite competitive, and there are a few videos online of the PvPing between these players that played OACB back in its glory days. This is where the Carib Bros really started to gain popularity on the platform of these two games. In 2013, the RELL brothers tried their hand at making an SAO game, and at the time it wasn't bad. You went through waves of enemies, fighting bosses with your friends. The only issue was the hackers in the game. Fun fact, the first video the YouTuber Infernasu did was on this game, and it featured him exposing a hacker in this game specifically. In 2015, the RELL brothers would drop Nindo OA, which is arguably the game that would help to create the eventual success that was the Shinobi Life series. Nindo OA was quite similar to that of Gaiden, which is the game that came out after it. But yeah, this game allows you to create your own ninja and get jutsu from your mother and father clan you would choose in the character creator instead of spinning. And the main appeal of this game that separated from the past Naruto games that BB created was the PvP and how it was becoming more and more polished. Before we move to 2016, we must talk about the forgotten Star Wars game that the RELL brothers tried to make, which is called Star Wars OA. You could basically become either a Jedi or a Sith just like in the show and just explore the world of Star Wars in a pretty unique way at that time, and have pretty much all the races from the Star Wars lore, and it was pretty much the best Star Wars game you could get at that time that was adventure based. As we all know, this wasn't the last RELL brothers Star Wars game that we would get, and we would get another one 3 years later in 2019. Now in 2016, the RELL brothers created Gaiden OA, which was a successor to Nindo OA and the game that the RELL brothers created before eventually creating Shinobi Life 1 a year later. Gaiden OA introduced a spinning system we would see in the future Naruto games they would create. I personally never really liked the spinning system concept because it always seemed money hungry even to me as a kid playing Gaiden. Gaiden also allowed you to choose which village you wanted to spawn in. This game actually had missions and objectives you could do to rank up within the Naruto system from Ginin to Jonin. A lot of features from Gaiden of course leaked over into Shinobi Life 1 and 2, but Gaiden was the prototype of all these features and allowed the RELL brothers to generate ideas to use in future games. Now on to the start of RELL Games' true stardom. Shinobi Life 1, which now has over 100 million visits and was the groundwork for all the future RELL brothers games. The game was originally supposed to be Gaiden OA 2, but was rebranded to be its own thing. It took features from Gaiden, however, like the training system and the spin system as well. The game still kept the mission design from Gaiden as well and added bounty missions, and the PvP was pretty similar to Gaiden OA as well. The reason the RELL brothers moved from Shinobi Life 1 was because the game was super exploitable and the Roblox wouldn't add filtering enabled that would help combat these exploits until after the game's lifespan. So another game that BB Studios made in 2016 was Realm of Magic. Just imagine Elemental Battlegrounds but like 10 times worse. That would be Realm of Magic. The game was essentially whoever can spam the strongest magic spells. That kind of sounds like Elemental Battlegrounds, but now on to 2017, and now the RELL brothers try their hand at developing all types of games and step away from the Naruto games for a bit. One of the games I remember seeing was Carib Bros Battlegrounds, which basically was PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds but on Roblox. Surprisingly, it was pretty well made and was very similar to the actual game. The game just expanded on what the RELL brothers could do and how diverse they truly were on Roblox. You can name it: anime, shooters, RPGs. The RELL brothers could create it at that time. The RELL brothers created one of the greatest superhero games in 2017 as well, and that game was called Injustice OA. Injustice OA allowed you to create your own superhero within the DC universe, and allowed you to use all types of weapons ranging from hammers to the scar from Fortnite. It was crazy back then and was arguably one of the greatest RELL Brothers games because of how diverse it was. It had various different bosses you could fight from the DC universe, and for a game made back in 2017, it definitely was ahead of its time. One game I wish the RELL Brothers would have kept developing was Dragon Ball Bloxverse. It was essentially a game where you just picked your race and abilities and just hopped in and played. As the name suggests, it was heavily inspired by the Dragon Ball Universe series, but unfortunately the game was dropped pretty quickly by the developers and they stopped development completely for it to work on other projects. The most forgettable BB Studios game was Eating Simulator 2. Garbage, which was obviously created to cash in on the simulator cash grab trend on Roblox, and it was really bad, but the RELL Brothers knew that and they just wanted to see how much money they can make off of a game. Now on to 2018, which was a tough year for RELL games. They tried new things, and due to the rising popularity of cash grabs, this demotivated them a bit. We saw the RELL Brothers drop a game called Zombie Assault, which essentially was a copy of the well-known game Zombie Attack, which I played religiously as a kid. The RELL Brothers even stated that this game only took 6 hours to make and build, and stated it was a cash grab in a video they made that predicted the downfall of Roblox.
Like I think a year ago, months ago, where I said that the future of Roblox is going to be quick money cash grab games and quick pay to win games, I was correct.
But they just proved they could copy a game and make profit off of a cash grab, and it was an experiment, but it showed them how easy it was to make money off of their games. We also saw the release of Superhero High School, which was created to cash in on the popularity that was the RP high school games back then. Now onto the game we actually cared about in 2018, Beyond Beta, which arguably would have been one of the RELL Brothers' best Naruto games if they would have kept working on it and balanced the PvP. This game became incredibly unbalanced, but it was a fun game. Similar to Shinobi Life 1, you could create your own ninja, and this game kept the spinning feature from Shinobi Life 1 as well. This game was definitely the blueprint for the eventual Shinobi Life 2 release, since these games were built very similarly, and a lot of things from Beyond were seen in Shinobi Life 2. The game was just a better Shinobi Life 1 in my opinion, but had some serious bugs and glitches that were never really fixed, since the game never really got released past the beta stage, since they would eventually move on to Shinobi Origins. Now on to 2019, which was another important year for RELL games in terms of experimenting with new games. Most failed, of course, but I digress. The release of Road Piece, which was the RELL Brothers' first attempt at a One Piece game. Unfortunately, it wasn't as great as it could have been because the RELL Brothers never actually watched the anime at that time, but it had unique races and such that you could be like Cyborg, which wasn't in most games around that time. This game also was one of the first games to ever add Gear Force. Of course, RELL games dropped this game as well and stopped updating it and moved on to other projects. RELL games also tried to make another Star Wars game around 2019 called Star Life. Although it was a better game than Star Wars OA, it had a few issues such as bugginess. The thing that made Star Life special was the community aspect, and there was tons of lore that the people of the community developed themselves. Eventually they just insisted on stopping the project completely, and then the game eventually stopped receiving updates, and then therefore eventually the project failed and Star Life was forgotten with time as a great and underrated Star Wars game. Now onto Shinobi Origins, which honestly was just a test game for the eventual release of Shinobi Life 2. They improved the Big Tail Beast and Susanoo we saw in Beyond. One big thing about this game was the exams being an actual integral part of the game, and going from Genin to Jonin being an actual accomplishment. I feel like Shinobi Origins was slept on by the devs, and this could have truly been the definitive Naruto experience if only it would have been worked on a little bit longer before Shinobi Life 2. Now 2020 was definitely the biggest year for RELL games, as they finally reached their full potential as developers in the community and solidified themselves as legends. First, I want to talk about Plus Ultra 2, which was one of the greatest My Hero games to be launched on the platform, but unfortunately the best feature of the game, quirk customization, would be the downfall of the game as well. The RELL Brothers stated the game was too complicated for many and it was just too much. The testers were also the downfall of Plus Ultra 2 as well, since they barely tested the game released with many bugs due to this. But on to the main event, the magnum opus of RELL games, Shinobi Life 2, which combined all of the Naruto games we mentioned before but polished it into the perfect Naruto game ever released on Roblox. The hype for Shinobi Life 2 was insane. The game easily was averaging over 50k daily, and it was one of the biggest things ever. It even attracted people who had never played Roblox before to try it. I remember this game being the only thing on Roblox to play at one point. The game eventually became too popular, and the publishers of Naruto, Viz Media, of course, caught wind of this Naruto game being made on Roblox and was profiting off of their name. So they closed Shinobi Life 2 on November 19th, 2020, and honestly it was a dark day for a lot of Roblox players because for many this was the only game keeping them on the platform at that time. And then RELL Games announced the rebrand Shindo. Shindo pretty much was Shinobi Life 2, but with renamed Kekka Genkai's in clans, so the game of course lost the Naruto appeal for many people. The game was still huge, but I personally didn't play Shindo much after the rebrand from Shinobi Life 2, it just didn't feel the same. But no doubt about it, Shindo / Shinobi Life 2 is the RELL game's most successful game of all time, garnering over 2 billion visits, which is insanity for a Roblox game, let alone an anime game. It made them tons of money to be able to make bigger and better things and even hire a whole team of people, and this is how they officially founded RELL Games in the RELL team. The YouTubers I want to mention who definitely helped RELL become such a famous name include IB Main, Ghost in the Cosmos, Variety J, Xenotai, Infernasu, Sweet Pea, Nano Prodigy, and so many others who helped create content for the games I listed and deserve a spot right alongside the influential people who helped bring these games to the spotlight of the community. Now, the future of RELL Games is of course RELL Seas, the most hyped up game of 2023, and we expect a movie showcasing mostly everything very soon as we move into a new era of RELL Brothers games. Shinobi Life 3 is confirmed to be in development and it will be releasing around 2025. That's crazy. But onwards we go into a new age of legendary games by two legendary brothers who have built a truly legendary legacy and team of people. But that was the story of RELL Games. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys don't mind, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your favorite RELL Brothers game, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.